Now focus on our big story this afternoon. The Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2021 has been tabled in Parliament, and this has created a massive furore within the Aam Aadmi Party that heads the Delhi government. Today, our MPs have upped the ante further over this issue and is now raising protests. There were MPs protesting outside Parliament. The MPs staged a protest for the second day in a row, and the party is planning to also hold further protests that will be led by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. The bone of contention, like I mentioned, is the bill that proposes to give more powers to the Lieutenant Governor, to the extent that all executive orders will now have to be approved by the Lieutenant Governor if this bill becomes a law. So Delhi government says that the bill actually seeks to replace powers of the government with that of the Lieutenant Governor, something which they believe is unconstitutional. Remember, the logic of the centre here is that the bill only seeks to give effect to the Supreme Court interpretation. It further defines the responsibility of the Lieutenant Governor vis-a-vis the government of Delhi, and the Lieutenant Governor's role is to be defined in line with the constitutional scheme. That is the justification coming in. So we are going to understand both points of view. Joining me here on the show today is Khemchand Sharma, spokesperson of the BJP, and also Reena Gupta, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mirror Now. I want to begin by asking you, Mr. Sharma, that for all intents and purposes, what this bill essentially tells us is that government from now on, if this bill becomes a law, will mean Lieutenant Governor. So what will the elected government do then in Delhi?
My voice is clear to you? Is my voice
yes,
okay?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. Namaskar to your audience. We welcome this bill because this bill will reduce the ambiguity between the central government and Delhi government. CM Kejriwal ji was putting everything on the head of the LG. What are the his duties? He was not fulfilling his duty, but putting the blame onto the LG and central government. Now he will not be able to do that because the new amendment, it will make clarity what is in the hand of the CM, what is in hand of the LG. There's more than 70% power, more than 70% you can say work CM can do independently. There will be no interference, and this is in line with the court. Supreme Court has directed the central government to clarify the role of the CM and LG and central government and the corporations. CM was doing the fight, not doing the work. Now, if he didn't do the work, people will be able to easily recognize, easily identify, easily blame him. He has complete power in a you can say road. He has a complete power into the water. He has a complete power into the electricity. He has a complete power in the health. He has a complete power into the education. He can work. Even if you go back and see in 1993 when Khurana Sahib became the CM, even the water supply and sewage was not under the Delhi government. On that time also, they did the work. They did the wonderful work. Still people remember what Khurana Sahib and what other CM has done. But he's not interested into the work. He just want to fight the central government. He just want to
No, let's not get into that blame game at this point. We are only talking about whether this will render the elected government powerless or not. What you're saying is that the bill intends to give more clarity. It will remove ambiguity. It will define roles. Reena Gupta, do you agree with that?
Afrida, what the central government is trying to do is absolutely unconstitutional and undemocratic. There is no need for any clarity. The 2018 Supreme Court judgment is very clear that as far as Delhi is concerned, the democratically elected government of Delhi has power over everything except for three things, which is law and order, police, and land. So there was no reason to bring out this bill. There has been no ambiguity whatsoever. You know, the 2018 judgment says very clearly that you don't even need the concurrence of the LG for anything else except for the three matters which I just said. Now, having said that, what was the need to bring out with a bill at this time? There was no need. The only issue is that BJP has realized after the NCT by-election results that in Delhi, they have absolutely no status. The people of Delhi are never going to give them any
We'll come to
votes.
that political part in just a bit, Reena Gupta. I want to dwell on this a little bit further with you because, you know, the other side is saying precisely the same thing what you're saying. When you are quoting and you are citing the Supreme Court's interpretation, the center is doing just that. In fact, I'm reading out right now statements of objects and reasons under that heading. What it says is that the bill seeks to give effect to the Supreme Court's interpretation that it further defines the responsibilities of the elected government and the Lieutenant Governor in line with the constitutional scheme. And you seem to be also suggesting that the Supreme Court has given clarity. So what is your problem if that is put in black and white in the form of a law? Let what the Supreme Court interpretation be out there for everyone to refer to for all future purposes, Reena Gupta.
No, Afrida, this is actually totally against what the Supreme Court has said. Supreme Court made it very clear that Delhi government has full powers to take decisions in all matters except for the 3 matters. Now, what the bill is proposing is that
okay, so
whenever
you're saying Supreme Court has misinterpreted. I got your point. You are saying that this is being falsely interpreted. The Supreme Court's idea or view on this is not being interpreted correctly. Khemchand Sharma, I want to ask you one more point on this, what Reena Gupta also referred to. The political side of this. Yes, I'm taking your point forward, ma'am. I'm come back to you. Okay, please complete.
See, the point is that right now the country is going through huge unemployment, inflation. So instead of focusing on all of that, what is the need to bring this bill? And as far as BJP chief ministers are concerned, both Sahib Singh Verma ji and Madan Lal Khurana ji both said that Delhi government does not have enough powers to do what it wants to do. So that is precisely the reason why we went to Supreme Court and we got clarification from Supreme Court. After that, there is no ambiguity left whatsoever.
Yes, this is a very short duration discussion. Mr. Sharma, respond to what Reena Gupta is raising here. What was the need to bring this bill now? What is your immediate provocation or circumstances that has necessitated it?
Except for the loss in NCT by-elections.
Actually, I can understand because Reena Gupta ji is speaking in line with the Kejriwal ji. And he's also making a political drama. He knows like the parliament has done the correct work or it is in the line of the Supreme Court. I want to ask Reena ji, what is the problem if the rule applied to the parliament also apply to the Vidhan Sabha? Because in parliament, you cannot discuss the person who is not presented to the parliament or who is not directly connected with the parliament or under the power of the parliament. What is the problem if the same kind of the rule apply to the Vidhan Sabha? In Vidhan Sabha, you discuss about the people, minister,
the problem, Mr. Sharma, is that it renders an elected government powerless. That is what the Aam MPs are saying, that you want to make it redundant, you want to make the Delhi government redundant, and it insults the mandate of the people. That is what Gopal Rai is quoted as saying today.
In fact, Afrida, you know what they should do is they should dissolve all the legislative assemblies of the whole country and just rule by the way of LGs and governors. They want to convert India into North Korea. You know, what they're doing is they're taking away rights of an elected government.
I got your point. Let Mr. Sharma respond and defend whether that is the idea or not. Yes, I got your point, and that's exactly what I asked Mr. Sharma, whether that is the idea or not.
Advance, you are fighting an election in a UT. If you are fighting an election in a UT, if you are attempting the paper of 10th class, you cannot ask for PhD degree. You are in a UT, so you have to...
Khemchand ji, there is a difference between Delhi and other UTs. Delhi has a legislative assembly.
I know.
There is a difference. So you cannot compare. Delhi is somewhere between a full UT and a full state. There is a democratically elected legislative assembly. So please do not.
Mr. Sharma, you did not answer the question on why this amendment was necessary. But Reena Gupta, I also want to ask you this, that this is the other reason. Okay, let's have a sane discussion here. We're losing track of the points that are being made. Let's just understand this. Reena Gupta, I want to ask you that the amendment, what it says is it's not a case of full state losing some powers. In any case, Delhi is not a full-fledged state. It is a case of a union territory gaining some autonomy. So it is actually to your advantage is what the government is arguing, that do not operate with the premise that you are a state. You are not a full state to begin with, even though, of course, we do understand that all parties have made promises of a full statehood, and this is just going just the opposite direction of taking away. But at this point of time, the amendment believes or seeks to give more autonomy to the Union Territory, not to take away. How do you respond to that?
After the amendment, Afrida, any decision that we take, we will have to send it to the LG for approval. This is what was happening in our previous government till we went to Supreme Court. You know, if you wanted to open new mohalla clinics, you send the file to LG. The LG sits on that file for 6 months to 1 year. You want to install CCTVs, you send the file to LG, and LG is controlled directly from the Home Ministry. So it is precisely for this reason that we went to Supreme Court and we got a clarification. And after the Supreme Court constitutional bench, it was very clear that everything else except for the 3 matters, you do not even need concurrence of the LG. The elected government has the full right to take all the decisions. And it is precisely because of this that you see in the last 3 years, we have done so much work.
Okay, so we will have to wait and see how this pans out further. Reena, Gupta and Khemchand Sharma, thank you for joining us today. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it at that. But yes, there is a backstory. There was a tussle between the centre and the state government in Delhi for the longest time, whether it is with the Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal or before him with Najib Jung. So the idea is to have some clarity, to set things right, to set the record straight. But in the process, of course, there is going to be more debate and discussion around this entire issue. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, let's move on to other news coming in at this point. And here's a statement that Rahul Gandhi has made on an international platform, where Rahul Gandhi launched a fresh attack on the BJP and the RSS, accusing them of destroying the electoral democracy and attacking our country's institutions, citing examples of dictators like Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi. In fact, Rahul Gandhi said that they too have won elections, and therefore there is no institutional framework to protect voters. He was speaking at a virtual event with US-based Brown University.
An election is not simply people going and pressing a button on a voting machine. An election is about narrative. An election is about institutions that make sure that the framework in the country is operating properly. Election is about a judiciary that is being fair. Election is about a debate that is taking place in parliament, right? So you need those